Hello everybody, hello my dear friends, students, colleagues. Today we are going to overcome another C hurdle and we are going to discuss the relationship between arrays and functions. In other words, how to pass arrays into a function and how to return an array from the function. What you see here is a small program. In line 8, I declared array of the integers. In line 9, I calculated the length of the array. And in lines 14 to 19, I defined a function average. And you now see how you pass array into the function. You pass the address, the first parameter, and you pass the number of the elements, second parameter. In the function, I calculate the sum of the integers, and then I divide the sum by the count, and I'll get the average. And it is returned back to a calling function. In line 10, I print the result, and let's try. So let's make sure everything is working. The result should be 4. The average of 3 numbers, 3, 4, and 5, should be 4. Excellent. Let's modify it. So let me comment this. And let me show you another version of the average function. So what's the difference? The difference is just a syntax. As you know, you can treat array in C as a pointer, or you can use standard syntax, square brackets notation. It's up to you. And here I used pointer syntax. I didn't use square brackets. By the way, I didn't change the prototype, so it doesn't matter for the compiler how you approach your array through the pointers or through the square brackets. And you see what I use here is dereferencing. So dereferencing is basically 2 steps, line 26. Dereferencing is a 2 steps procedure. When you first go to the variable, because you know the address, and after you get from that variable the value. So we call this dereferencing, and I increment the pointer. So in line 27, my pointer is moving to the next element of the array. Let's see. Let's prove it. Let's try a new version of the average function. Good, done. Now let's modify again. So let me comment this, and let me show you something else. So here again, the function is pretty much the same. I came back to normal syntax, square brackets syntax, but what I used here, it's a prefix const. So it's a very popular keyword in C. And what it means, yes, you get array as a parameter of your function, but you're not allowed to change it. So const prefix makes your array read-only. You won't be able to change it, and when you provide your function, by the way, you have to put const in both definition and declaration, prototype. So please, you have to use the same syntax in function definition, in function prototype. So this way you saying to the friend, the programmer who going to use your function, don't worry. Don't worry when you pass any integer arrays to me. I'm not going to change them. I'm just going to calculate the average and return you the average. So this way you make it clear. Make it clear to the user, to your colleague, your programmer friend. You make it clear, yes, I will get your array, but I won't change it. Let's save the changes. Let's compile. And it should be exactly the same as it was. It is. 4 is the average. Excellent. And let's do one more. One more modification. So I'm going to now comment this. I'm going to uncomment this. So, and I'm going to change the prototype. So what I'm doing now in the squares function, I'm basically returning now. I'm not only receiving array, I'm returning array. That's why pointer to int my returned type. So in line 42, I calculate how many bytes I would need for. So in my second array, I'm going to just calculate squares. So if it's 3, then it's going to be 9. If it's 4, it's going to be 16. So I allocate new array on dynamic memory, or we call it heap sometimes. And then I calculate squares and I save all the squares in the newborn array. So that's what line 44 does. I'm saving squares. And I return back to the main function the address of my array. Now let's try to use it. So I'm going to now show you how to use such a function. So I declare pointer, of course. Pointer to int. And I call my squares. Squares. So then I print the original numbers, line 11, and I print the new numbers, new array, line 12. The most important thing is, because you borrowed some memory from the operating system, you have to return it back to the operating system using system function free. So when you return array from your function, you have to make it clear for your friends, your programmers, guys, that's your business to free the memory I took. Otherwise, you will get very common C programmers issue, memory leak. In many languages, releasing memory is done automatically. For instance, in Java, it's called garbage collector. So, special routine does the cleaning or returning memory back to operating system. But in C, it's not done. C is low-level language, and you have to do both. You have to borrow memory using malloc or calloc, and you have to free your memory. So be careful. And also, very common mistake beginners do, they create a new array as a static array. So look what they do sometimes. They just declare a new array as a static array. It's not clear though how many numbers I have to allocate, because you cannot use here a variable. When you declare static arrays, you can use only literals. Now, I may save everything here, but this is a very bad idea, returning such address. It may crash your program, because you returning back to the main function something which doesn't exist anymore. Remember, any local variables killed at the end of the function, disposed, they don't exist. So this is really bad idea. What you see right now, don't return static arrays. So let me undo. And that's a good one. So that's a good example. Of course, if you explain your friend who is your function user, if you explain clearly, you're supposed to free that array you created. Okay, so let's save the changes. Let's compile. And it works as I expected. I see the original array and I see the squares. So thank you very much for listening. Today we discussed an important topic, how you can pass arrays to the functions and how the functions may return arrays back to the main function or calling function. Please share your comments, put your likes, subscribe for the channel, and watch other tutorials on Java, on PHP, on mobile development, whatever you can find on my channel. Please enjoy it. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to see you again.